Stocks fall after TCS's weak show drags IT stocks lower. Energy, auto and industrials are the other big losers, while FMCG, powered by HUL, ekes out gains.
A delay in decision-making and deferment of deals causes a dip in constant currency revenues for TCS in Q1. The uncertainty also pushes back wage hikes after a hiring ramp up in anticipation of a pickup.
Glenmark Pharma's arm inks India's first big drug licensing deal with AbbVie for an upfront payment of $700 million and milestone payments of over $1.2 billion. Glenmark says it will consider rewarding shareholders from this bounty.
Hindustan Unilever is set for a sudden change of guard as Rohit Java exits early. Priya Nair, Executive Director Beauty and Wellbeing at Unilever, will step in to take charge on August 1st. The stock celebrates the entry of HUL's first woman CEO. Zee Entertainment shareholders block a resolution for issuing warrants to promoters that would have helped them raise their stake from just under 4% to over 18%. Strong opposition from several proxy advisors led to the outcome. It is the final trading day of the week. We are just a few hours away from the close, but it is not looking like a very pleasant screen. You're watching Business Lunch. We are coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Hormas Patakia. With me is Vamakshi Dhoriawal. Vamakshi, the only saving grace, if you would like to call it that, is the fact that the bulls are still fighting to defend that 25,150 mark on the downside, even though most of the other indices are deep in the red.
Well, absolutely, Hormas. You know, this particular week has not been good at all for all of the indices that we've seen so far. In fact, when you look at today's move itself, moves on the sectoral indices are largely being driven by individual newsmakers is what we've observed. Like, look at, for example, TCS. It was not a great set. Nifty IT is the top sectoral loser. In fact, TCS is the top sectoral loser on the IT index itself. That stock is down almost 3%. Take a look at Zee Entertainment as well. The shareholders rejected a proposal to issue warrants to promoters. Nifty Media is the next big loser as far as sectoral indices are concerned. But on the flip side, what's doing well is the FMCG pack, largely driven by, no surprise there, HUL on the back of the appointment of the company's first woman CEO. So therefore, HUL up in trade. It will come up for you on the screen, up almost 4.8%. And the other index that is doing well is Pharma, driven largely by Glenmark Pharma. That stock is flying high in trade today. There's no question about that. It's a big deal. The stock is flying high. But the big news on Glenmark Pharma, then the company has signed a landmark licensing pact with US pharma company AbbVie to develop and sell a drug to treat multiple myeloma. Let's go across to my colleague Ekta for details on this mega $700 million deal. Ekta?
Well, yes, it's definitely a big deal which has come in for Glenmark. Glenmark's arm, which is basically their innovation arm, IGI, and AbbVie have signed a licensing deal for their drug under development for multiple myeloma, which is ISB 2001. Now, basically, what exactly are the financials with regards to this deal? AbbVie is going to be giving Glenmark $700 million upfront. They are also going to be giving milestone payments up to the tune of $1.2 billion. And that is when these regulatory or clinical milestones are met. And they also have, which is probably the most important, double-digit tiered royalty on net sales. Now, if in case this particular molecule does become commercial, it is successful, it hits the market in the next, say, 4 to 6 years, then Glenmark will be eligible for double-digit royalty on the net sales of this particular molecule for possibly annuity. So, in terms of the financials, there's a huge upside, and that's probably what the stock is factoring in at this point in time. However, one needs to tread with caution because the success of the molecule is the most important. There have been R&D failures which have taken place, and that is basically the crux of R&D as a whole. So that would be something that we would probably need to watch in the next couple of years. Separately, Glenmark is going to retain the rights for emerging markets in India, whereas AbbVie is going to develop, manufacture and commercialize ISB 2001 for North America, Europe, Japan and Greater China. When it comes to utilization of funds, $700 million is going to go into the R&D for IGI going forward. So they need around $70 million per year. So maybe for the next 3 years, they will be funded. The rest of the cash will be on books, and some of it will probably go as dividend as well to Glenmark. Glenmark would look to reward shareholders. This is something that they would consider, or the board would consider eventually. Nomura wrote on this. They have a neutral with the target price of 1,500 rupees. According to them, the deal value is ahead of expectations. To put it into perspective, market expectations were around $300-400 million in terms of milestones. That's come in at around $700 million. And the total drug value was estimated to be $700 to $800 million. And that drug value has come in to be higher at around $2 billion as well, according to experts.
Ekta, thanks a lot for that. A big deal indeed, not just for Glenmark, but the entire Indian pharma space. In fact, Ekta did speak to Glenmark CMD Glenn Saldana on how this deal will aid the company going forward. Listen in.
Clearly, this is a huge moment for us, right? I mean, we've been working on this for 25 years in the innovation space, and I think 2001 really is a world-class asset, right, which can be transformational for patients. From a partnering perspective, the way we've structured it is we've partnered with AbbVie for US, Canada, Europe, China, Japan, most of the developed markets, and Glenmark will commercialize this product eventually, right, in India and all emerging markets. So the two of us will make sure this asset is successful going forward.
So explain the financials to us. $700 million is what you would get upfront, $1.2 billion in terms of milestones, and the remaining would be royalties.
That's correct. So we get a $700 million payment upfront, and as soon as we get regulatory approvals, that money will be received by us. The milestones, the $1.2+ billion of milestones, are spread into clinical development milestones. So as the molecule progresses to clinics, we keep getting milestones. Regulatory milestones, so as the molecule gets filed in various markets, we get and approved, we get milestones. And then we get sales-linked milestones. So cumulatively, that number comes to $1.25 billion, for the asset. And then once it's commercial, we get royalties on sales, which, as you know, some of these innovative products, the life of the royalties is pretty long. So this could pretty much be an annuity if the molecule makes.
When do you think that it will probably hit the market or show any kind of results?
So AbbVie takes over all clinical development from here on. In terms of time frame, I mean, I can't give you a specific time frame, but typically molecules, if you look at other assets, right, in the space, they typically take about 4 or 5 years at least to get to commercialization.
That was the management of Glenmark Pharma. The stock is perched at an all-time high today. But next big mover is Hindustan Unilever. The company announced the appointment of Priya Nair as its new Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, effective August 1st, 2025, with Rohit Java stepping down from the board. Mangalam tells us more. Mangalam.
It's an abrupt end to Rohit Java's short career in Hindustan Unilever as the CEO and MD, where in 2 years of his appointment, he has decided to step down to pursue other interests. But more importantly, in his place comes Priya Nair, who is currently the Executive Director of Beauty and Wellbeing at Unilever Global. But she's been a Hindustan Unilever lifer, where she joined in 1995. Thereafter, ran the home care business, parts of the beauty and well-being business in India as well. Known very well for, bringing about premiumization, digitization, and good growth in some of their brands. And that's something that HUL would like right now, even as the last 2 years have been extremely tough from a macro environment standpoint. Going forward, as the consumer sentiment is turning with an increased focus towards premiumization, beauty and well-being, the street may like that. Add to all of this, the stock has been a rank underperformer. In fact, over the last 5 years, X of today's move, it's moved all of 8%, and all of that actually happened in this month itself. So if you look at from the start of the month of July, the stock in the last 5 years has given virtually zero returns. But the prior 5 years, the stock had moved nearly 4 times. So as a result of which, there was valuation headwind in the last 5 years. Now there is comfort. Consumer sentiment is turning. And, the new leadership only adds an increased optimism around this space right now? What is it that the street will be watching out for? Innovation in foods portfolio post the ice cream business demerger, because Horlicks hasn't been doing well. Priya's core strength is beauty and well-being. So premiumization out there is something I'll be watching out for. And by and large, with the improved consumer sentiment, can consumer volume growth for HUL recover is something that the street will be betting on as well.
Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. Bucking the trend in a weak market is HUL, 5% higher in today's trading session, and it has managed to hold on to that gain all through the trading session. So 25.22 on HUL. On the flip side though, what has declined to the lows of the day is TCS, and that is after its first quarter results and some subdued commentary from the management as well. Rima is here to tell us more on that. Rima.
Well, just to tell you, the key reason why the stock is under pressure is the dismal revenue performance. Revenues have fallen by 3.3% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Consensus was for a 1.5% drop. The reason for the decline is twofold. One, an anticipated drop in the BSNL deal. There was a ramp down of the BSNL deal, so that shaved away about 2.8%. And the other is the international business, which is all the business ex of BSNL. Now, that the management hoped would have grown. But given the macro uncertainty, the international business degrew by nearly 0.5%. In fact, the management acknowledged that the international business performance missed our own estimates by nearly 100 basis points. There were not too many deal cancellations, but there were delays in their deals in Q1. So some of the clients deprioritized their deals, they postponed their programs. And when asked that whether things come back, recover in Q2, he did indicate that as of now the uncertainty continues, so it's too early to say how Q2 is going to shape up, and generally the company refrains from providing any sort of a guidance. But where he is still confident and he's holding out is that FY26 international revenue growth will be better than last year. In terms of some of the steadying factors, margins were in line with estimates, 24.5%. Deal wins steady at $9.4 billion. And if you look at the headcount has actually gone up by 5,000 employees on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Now, typically, headcount goes up when you're confident about demand, which is why you take on so many people. But, when we asked the management, they said that, we thought that at the beginning of the quarter, in April, we thought things will recover, and therefore they hired people. So they built their strength, the bench strength, in anticipation of demand, but actually what they saw was margin contraction. Attrition also ticked up marginally, 13.8%, so slightly above the company's own comfort band. And as of now, at least, the company has not made any decision on the timing or the quantum of wage hikes. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Rima. That explains why TCS is trading lower today. But let's also listen in to what the management of TCS had to say on the deal postponements as well as business prospects going forward.
Not many cancellations, but delays, right? Like there are situations, there are sometimes where you have about 1,000 people working on a project. Customer decides that they can go slow, and then they say, I don't need 1,000 people, I need only 500 people for the next few months. And they're willing, because of the overall situation, they see they can deprioritize or postpone the programs. So I don't want to quantify how many, but few.
But what led to the disconnect between your own expectations and how the quarter played out? Because even when we spoke last time, that 90-day pause, tariffs being was there.
See, we in fact, if you remember, last time I was telling that I was expecting this to be short-lived. Yeah. Okay, it was not short-lived as I thought. It's continuing. Like if you, we hope that sentiments revive soon, but.
So you think Q2 is also impacted? I
mean, too early to call. One, that we are not going to comment on Q2, but. See, the overall situation, we have a good pipeline, good order book. We are winning reasonably well in the marketplace.
And overall, will there be growth in FY26 over 25?
Growth, yes. Growth better than FY25, we'll work towards it, because we had about, I think, 4.2% growth in FY25. To reach that, that's looking like a tough number now. But definitely growth, definitely international growth to be better than FY25.
We'll take a short break. The Nifty still struggling at the lowest point of the day. But just before we take that break, remember to tune into the all-new CNBC TV18 Prime, bringing you insights from policymakers, business leaders and economists shaping both the world and India's future. CNBC TV18 Prime decodes global shifts and their impact on Indian businesses, giving you unparalleled insights. You can tune in to CNBC TV18 Prime at noon for the Global Reset, 1 p.m. for the Big C and the Global Lens at 8:30 this evening.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned into Business Lunch. But moving on, Elon Musk Tesla is set to make its long-awaited entry into the Indian market on July 15th. It will inaugurate its first experience center in Mumbai, BKC. My colleague Parikshit joins us with more details. Parikshit?
Well, yes, Tesla is all set to launch officially in India. This is on the 15th of July, Maker Maxity Mall in BKC in Mumbai. They had already leased out a 4,000 square feet space, and that showroom will come live on the 15th. There will be a launch event between 10 a.m. in the morning and around 12:30. So it's a 2.5-hour launch event. What do we expect? We will expect Tesla cars to be showcased there, and you can expect some of the entry-level models to be sold. So if these cars cost around 35 to 37,000 US dollars in America, you would get them at about 50 to 60 lakhs in the India market. The reason being there is a 70% duty on fully built cars coming into India, which cost up to 40,000 US dollars. Anything above that has a 100% duty. Even though the starting price is quite high, we're told that there are a lot of Tesla lovers in India. We can expect the company to give out booking timelines and sales timelines and as to when and how the customers can start booking their cars. There will be charging points in the Maker Maxity Mall, which Tesla has already leased out, and we're told that charging options will also be revealed. At the same time, the cars that will be showcased and launched in India will be fully loaded, according to sources. They will have all the features that are there in Tesla models in the US, China, and other key markets as well. No plans to manufacture in India just yet. This is a major litmus test for Tesla. If the Mumbai showroom takes off well, there are a lot of bookings and good amount of sales numbers, then Tesla may consider manufacturing in India in the next 2 to 3 years. But will Elon Musk be there? For the moment, we're told by sources he's unlikely to be there. But this may be a low-key event, but it's a very important moment for Tesla in its journey at a time when it's seeing a slowdown in key markets such as Europe and China.
Well, Parikshit, Vamakshi choked when you mentioned the price of the Tesla. But the question to you is, are you putting in a booking as well?
No, not at all. I just bought my car recently 3 years back. So neither do I have the money nor any intention of buying a car just yet. But I know there would be many people in our office, maybe Hormuz, and just a lot of Tesla enthusiasts who've been queuing up. In fact, there were many people who had actually booked a Tesla when they had opened bookings globally, but they could, of course, never get it. They would be hoping to go ahead and buy their cars now.
They'll certainly be hoping, but you can count me out on that one, Parikshit. Thanks a lot for that. Take a short break here, but just before we do that, here's some good news for our viewers. India's business news leader is now just a click away, and that is CNBC TV18's all-new app, where you get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles, and financial world updates right at your fingertips. You can download the app from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, or even scan the QR code that comes up on your screen. Take a short break. Be right back. Welcome back. Now, ahead of a key meeting between Russia and the United States over Ukraine, Russia has launched a massive attack on Kyiv with hundreds of drones and multiple missiles, which killed at least 2 people in the Ukrainian capital. Take a look.
Russia unleashed heavy airstrikes on Ukraine Thursday. Officials say at least 2 people were killed and 23 wounded in the attacks on Kyiv. It came before the Rome Conference on Ukraine's reconstruction, at which Kyiv won billions of dollars in aid pledges, and U.S.-Russian talks in Kuala Lumpur. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he had a frank conversation with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov about finding an end to the war.
I expressed what the president has said publicly, which is that we feel as if we've dedicated a lot of time and energy to this matter, and just not enough progress has been made. We need to see a roadmap moving forward about how this conflict can conclude.
Moscow's foreign ministry said they had shared, quote, a substantive and frank exchange of views.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth.
U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed frustration with Vladimir Putin over the lack of progress towards ending the war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Thursday's assault by Russia had involved around 400 drones and 18 missiles, primarily targeting the capital. Eyewitness footage verified by Reuters showed the moment a Russian strike hit Wednesday night. Authorities said air defenses stopped all but a few dozen of the drones.
Well, that's all we have on this edition of Business Lunch. We're leaving you with the Nifty at 25,160. The midcap end of the market also not doing too well, down almost 0.7%. Don't go anywhere. Midcap Radar comes up next.